All right, and we are live. Welcome everyone to another live Google Hangouts here on my channel. Of course, I am Robbie1 Kenobi, and I'm joined today by a good friend of mine here on Twitter and YouTube. Haven't really done a video with this guy in almost a year. Not exactly a year, but it's good to have him on my channel. He was actually the inspiration behind this video. TommieCB is in the house. Tommy, go ahead and say hi.
What's going on, everybody? I hope you guys are having a great day. Thank you again, Robbie, for featuring me on this video, and let's get right to it.
Right away, yeah. Thank you for being here. Thank you for inspiring the video. So without any further ado, guys, as the video states, WWE Backlash 2016 predictions. Of course, Backlash is this Sunday live on the WWE Network. Overall, for a show that only had, I want to say, about 2-3 weeks build, especially when you consider that SmackDown got the short end of the stick in the draft, with Raw getting one extra draft pick. I have to say, what SmackDown's given us for Backlash is a pretty stacked card for the most part. I'm looking forward to the WWE World Championship match. You have the SmackDown Women's Championship match, which I'm really happy to see all of them get a chance to shine on the card. You know, I always say, if the card is given, if all the matches are given the right amount of time, no screwy finishes, the show can be really good to great. So, Tommy, what are your thoughts going into Sunday's event?
I agree with you. Again, the short build-up, they've actually, given people a reason to care, maybe. I'm not sure. And really, if you think about it, SmackDown, for the most part, since the draft, has been the more superior show. And I have no doubt that Backlash will be a very good show.
Oh yeah, definitely. SmackDown has had the better shows for the past few weeks. I will give kudos to Raw for the very first show they did when Balor he won the 2 matches. He beat Roman Reigns, and Sasha Banks became women's champion. That show was just great from Pittsburgh. But since then, SmackDown has just had better shows. I feel like their character progression, storyline progression has gone better than on Raw. I mean, look what they're doing with the women on SmackDown. Look at how AJ Styles has established himself as the face that runs the place. I mean, I feel like SmackDown, 2 hours is perfect. There's there's very little to no filler. I just feel like SmackDown's a better product. That's why Raw needs to go back to 2 hours. And I got a feeling that SmackDown's going to give us a good to hell great pay-per-view with the show. So, without any further ado, let's get right down to the predictions. Am I echoing?
Yeah, a little bit, maybe.
All right. I heard something in the background. Shoot. I apologize, guys, if we're echoing. Too late now to try to fix the sound quality, but let's get right down to the predictions. So we're going to start off with the SmackDown Tag Team Championship Tournament. If you guys remember, on SmackDown, American Alpha won their semifinal match against the Usos in record time, but then the Usos finally turned heel and attacked American Alpha. They did a sick attack on Chad Gable's leg, and it was announced on Talking Smack that American Alpha have been eliminated from the tournament. They will not be able to compete. So we will get what I call a second chance match. It'll be the Usos and the Hype Bros going one-on-one, and the winning team will face Rhyno and Heath Slater in the finals of the Tag Team Championship Tournament. I'm predicting that the Usos will win, and they'll go on to the finals to face Rhyno and Heath Slater. This one's kind of interesting to predict, Tommy, because with the Usos going heel and then most likely having a program against American Alpha, I could see them winning the titles. But then again, with Rhyno and Heath Slater, with how popular Slater has been over the past few weeks, consensus would say give the titles to Slater and Rhyno, because then Slater wins his SmackDown contract, and even if he loses it at No Mercy, he still is contracted under the SmackDown brand. So what do you think about this situation, Tommy?
The Usos heel turn, very long overdue.
Yeah.
And I am very excited to see them work a program with American Alpha. I think those two teams can really put on great matches. And I've really come around to Heath Slater as of lately. Like you said, logic would say give him the tag titles, but maybe again the Usos, they just turned heel. It kind of would make no sense to maybe have them lose. So I'm kind of predicting, like you said, the Usos to win the tag team championships.
Yeah, because, you know, when American Alpha practically squashed the Usos in 30 seconds, I was shocked. I was like, what? But then with the heel turn, it makes perfect sense because then you save an American Alpha Usos clash for a bigger stage, like maybe Survivor Series. And once it happens, it's going to be a great match. So, yeah, it's kind of hard for me to predict this match because, you know, like Heath Slater's done a great job as the free agent. You know, he's got his 7 freaking kids and that big wife of his, girlfriend, whoever she was, you know, in the crowd. But then again, if you have the Usos heel, logic says you give them the championships because then they spoil Slater's chances, his Cinderella story, and they can just go on and be these arrogant badasses, just like, yeah, they ruined that special moment for Heath Slater. They're sick and tired of all these newbies coming in and taking their spotlight. So, it's kind of hard for me to predict this one because, like, part of me wants Slater to win so he gets his SmackDown contract. But then with the Usos, if they win the titles, they spoil the Cinderella story, then that gives American Alpha more of an incentive to get back at the Usos. So I think I'm gonna end up going with the Usos, like you said. Maybe Slater and Rhyno will have like a great showing, and then, you know, they come very close, and, you know, you'll see the heartbreak in Slater's face. But maybe Shane and Daniel Bryan will come up and say, you know what, man, you've proven yourself as a fighting star and everything, and maybe they'll offer him the contract. But I just got a feeling that you got to give the Usos the titles now since they turned heel. So I'm gonna go with the Usos to win the championships in the finals.
Okay.
All right. So the next match on the card is the Women's Six-Pack Elimination Challenge for the inaugural SmackDown Women's Championship. It'll be Becky Lynch versus Natalya versus Alexa Bliss versus Naomi versus Nikki Bella versus Carmella. I like what they're doing with the women. I'm not a fan of the title being called the SmackDown Women's title or over on Raw, the Raw Women's title. I feel like the Women's Champion should have been exclusive to both brands, because that is the prestigious prize for the women in WWE. But what's done is done. SmackDown has a new championship now. I have to go with Becky Lynch. I feel like Becky Lynch needs to really win this match. She has not won the NXT Women's Championship. She didn't win the Divas Championship. She didn't win the Women's Championship at WrestleMania. Becky, you know, I feel like Becky's gotten lost in the shuffle because Bayley's on Raw. Sasha was champion. Charlotte was champion. Becky's been that one workhorse, that dark horse. I've always seen her as a dark horse. And I feel like now is the time to really establish her as the top woman on SmackDown. So I don't see Nikki Bella or Carmella. Nikki Bella could win it, but really I see her going into a feud with Carmella. I could see Alexa Bliss winning. If Alexa Bliss wins, I'll be fine with it. But I really want Becky Lynch to win because, you know, like I said, Becky needs to be established as the top star on the women's division. If they give it to Alexa Bliss, that's great because Alexa needs to make her name needs to make a name for herself as well as one of the new young stars on SmackDown. So I either see it going to Becky or Alexa, but my prediction is Becky. Becky needs to win that championship.
Well, here's how I look at it. Oh, man.
Mm-hmm.
Am I good?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay. Excuse me. Like I said, the way I look at it, I think two names we can go ahead and kind of scratch out are Natalya and Naomi.
Yeah.
And I think in Natalya's case, and I hate to really say it in this manner, you know, she's getting up there in age. You know, she's not going to be the focal point of the women's division. And, you know, her ship has kind of sailed. Naomi, I'm just not investing in her again, or never really invested in her at all, especially with her feud with Nikki from last year. That really was her best chance to win the Divas Championship. So once that didn't happen, it's almost like, okay, this is this is pretty much a done deal with Naomi.
Yeah.
But going back to, right now, I am picking Becky Lynch, but most people know me. I am a Bella fan. I'm a Bella fan, so it is what it is. But I'm picking Becky Lynch here.
Yeah.
Like you said, Alexa Bliss is probably like the only heel that could legit win it. But here's what I was thinking. Let's say Becky won, and what if there's a chance they're just making her a placeholder, and for Eva Marie to come back? But I don't think she's not going to win the title once she's not going to win the title right away from when she comes back from suspension. But that's just my biggest thought right there. Like, okay, let's say Becky wins, and then she drops it to Eva 2 months later. So what are your thoughts on that? I want to throw it back to you.
I can't really see Eva Marie being women's champion. I think if Eva, I have nothing personal against her because I do like Eva. She has gotten better in the ring. She's not the best women's wrestler, but she's definitely not as bad as she used to be when she first started. And, Eva Marie has not had a serious match since she debuted on SmackDown. Every time she comes out to have a match, something happens, and something conveniently happens, wink, wink, and she can't wrestle. And then she got suspended. And going into SummerSlam, I was thinking she's going to pin Becky Lynch or Becky's going to make her tap finally. And then she got suspended and Nikki Bella came back. I really can't see Eva Marie being SmackDown Women's Champion because, what significant feud could she have other than with Becky Lynch? Because it would make sense. Becky was supposed to wrestle her in her debut, and every time Eva kept having something happen that prevented her from wrestling. And then I remember, and I found it funny that they said on SummerSlam that because of the fans and her being stressed out and whatnot, that she couldn't make it to SummerSlam when we all knew she got suspended. Yet you won't acknowledge that, but you'll acknowledge Roman Reigns getting suspended for what he did. But I just couldn't take it serious if Eva Marie actually won the women's championship. But part of me believes it's gonna probably happen, which is gonna be crazy. Because what else are they gonna really do with Eva Marie other than what they've been doing until she finally gets in the ring?
But isn't that where you can book her as a cowardly heel, or is that just kind of what do you think about that?
Could book her as a cowardly heel because we're gonna get to the Miz in a little bit and what's going on with him. But yeah, for Eva, you could book her as a cowardly heel because what was it? She wasn't supposed to be on a SmackDown and she showed up, and then when she realized she was gonna get her ass kicked, she kind of backed down. So I don't know what else they could really do. They haven't done yet with Eva Marie. Yeah, but I wouldn't be surprised if that Survivor Series it's Becky Lynch versus Eva Marie with the SmackDown Women's Championship on the line. And in Canada, Eva Marie's gonna get nuclear heel heat in Canada. So yeah, I mean, I really don't have much else to say about it. It's probably gonna happen. Since you brought it up, what else would you have to say about that, Tommy? Anything else you want to say about this potential Eva Marie women's title run?
All I got to say is she's gonna win the title. It's gonna happen. It is what it is. So we can move forward.
Yeah. I'll just say one more thing before we move on to the next match. I do feel like SmackDown does need to get some more women on their roster. I'm happy that the women on SmackDown have been used to the best so far. Yes, we have seen them in matches we've seen them in pretty much similar matches. We do need new talent on SmackDown, but I'm happy that the women on SmackDown at least get a chance to be on TV and have good matches. On Raw, the main focus now is Charlotte, Sasha, Dana, and Bayley. I mean, if I recall right, Paige, Alicia Fox and Summer Rae also got drafted to Raw, but when you look at it, Summer Rae's not really a wrestler. I could see her more as a valet. Alicia Fox hasn't even been used until Raw on Monday with Nia Jax. And Paige, I don't know what the hell she was doing until she got suspended, but she wasn't even on Raw for a while. So it's unfortunate.
It's very unfortunate with Paige. I mean, but then again, she chose love over career, and I mean, just I have no idea. So
Yeah.
what?
I
What
wish.
did you?
Yeah. I wish Paige the best if she actually did quit, and if she goes like ROH or Lucha Underground. I don't say TNA because I'm not really a TNA fan. If she goes ROH or TNA or I'm not TNA, Lucha Underground, or maybe even New Japan, I hope she does well. That's all I'm gonna say.
Well, there's a talking about her possibly, a pending lawsuit against WWE.
Oh yeah, I heard about that. She should take legal action.
Like maybe the harassment because the guy from the Carano guy they said total.
Yeah, Mark Carano. Yeah. All right.
Go ahead.
Yeah, no, we'll see what happens, but I wish Paige the best because she was good, and it just sucks she was underutilized. I think she had like one match after getting drafted, and that was it. But it sucks what happened to her. It sucks what happened to Del Rio. Del Rio should have never came back. He should have just stayed on Lucha Underground and killed it with Johnny Mundo and those guys like he was doing. But that is
exactly.
Yeah, that is what it is. Anything else you want to say about the six-pack challenge, Tommy, before we move on to the Intercontinental title match?
I got nothing. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No problem. All right. So we both picked Becky Lynch, but we both also agree that Alexa Bliss could win that championship because I think she'd be a good champion. She never got the title on NXT, which surprised me. But if they wanted to pull the trigger with Alexa Bliss, I think this would be the perfect time. Or at Survivor Series against Becky Lynch. But we both.
Well, here's another thing. Now, another thought. Let's assume Eva didn't get suspended. I think if she was in this match, she would probably win in a cowardly manner, like maybe she does a cheap roll up or something. Someone hits a power move and she just kind of vultures in and gets the pin.
The day before she got suspended, when I was coming up with scenarios for predictions and that 6 women's tag match was going to happen, I said that if she beats Becky Lynch, she's going to take credit for someone's going to do the work, like Alexa Bliss is going to do the work, and then she's going to get the tag and pin Becky. And that obviously didn't happen because Eva got suspended. Anyway, I could have seen that happen. I could have seen Eva doing that in the 6-pack challenge to win the championship. But when she comes back, we'll see how things go. Okay. So next on this card, moving on, is the Intercontinental Championship match, The Miz with Maryse defending against Dolph Ziggler. Ziggler's not winning this match. We already know this. But what I want to see, I'm expecting this to be a good to really good match. But I want to see The Miz get very aggressive. I want to see him unleash this very nasty, ugly side of him. Because ever since he did that shoot promo on Talking Smack, and I'm not jumping on The Miz bandwagon, but I just want to see The Miz do something special. I want WWE to capitalize on it and have him just really prove that he's not a coward and just like aggressively beat up Dolph Ziggler and just go on this really hot mean streak. So I hope after this or starting with this match, we get to see something like that. Because like I said, I'm picking Miz to win. There's no way Ziggler's getting the title from Miz. I think somebody like maybe a Kalisto, if he's rebuilt perfectly in time for Survivor Series, or some other young talent's going to take the championship from him. I was hoping it would have been Apollo Crews at SummerSlam, but part of me wants to see Miz hold on to the championship a little longer because he's been a good workhorse champion. I wasn't a fan of him winning the title on Raw from Zack Ryder, but he's done great for the most part as Intercontinental champion. He's been a workhorse champion, so I pick him to win. Tommy, what are your thoughts on everything that's happened with The Miz since that Talking Smack shoot promo?
It took 10 years to give. It took 10 years for people to give a crap about The Miz for one, and of course at Daniel Bryan's expense. But I'm with you. Ziggler is not winning the championship. I mean, I think again, much like I said about Natalya, his ship has pretty much sailed. He's just there to put on good matches, and I personally thought him and Ambrose at SummerSlam would have been it had potential to be a good match, but I think it had to follow up behind Cena and AJ, if not right behind, if I'm not mistaken. But
yeah,
that match really could have been good if it didn't have to go behind Cena and AJ. But going to this with The Miz, and really, I think didn't they wrestle at SummerSlam 2014? Because I think that was a very good match too.
They did have a good opening match, and the funny thing about that, Tommy, is this is the match we got 2 years ago at Night of Champions. but it was the roles were reversed. Ziggler was the champion, and Miz had Miz down in his corner. This is basically the same match we got 2 years ago, which, like I said, it's gonna still be a good to really good match. But
this will be the workhorse match if we want to call it that.
Very good analysis. I like that. This will be the workhorse match. Miz is a good workhorse. You know, I've never been a big fan of the guy, but I will give him credit for the work he's put in. He's never been injured in 10 years, and he's done some great things with this Intercontinental Championship run. So hopefully it leads to something big. Like, one of my friends had this idea of what if Daniel Bryan calls up Brian Kendrick to fight The Miz for the Intercontinental Championship.
Okay, I like that.
Yeah, that would be interesting because I don't know if Daniel Bryan can ever. I mean, he retired, so he said in the promo, if WWE let me wrestle, I would wrestle. But didn't he say he can't wrestle anymore because if he takes another bad bump, he's done?
I think he said something like that.
Yeah. So maybe what can happen is he brings in Brian Kendrick as like a representative, and then Brian Kendrick, after his great Cinderella Man run in the CWC, you could have Brian Kendrick at like Survivor Series knock off The Miz for the championship.
Yeah, I like that possibility, but then you'll have people complaining, oh, it's not Brian Kendrick's not believable to beat Miz and stuff. So
yeah, people will say that. It's going to be interesting to see when he drops the championship and who he drops it to. I just want something really good done with The Miz. I feel like this.
What about the possibility of Samoa Joe?
Yeah, I think my friend Daniel is going to do a video on that. That is true. Samoa Joe could come in and crush him for the Intercontinental Championship. It could happen at Survivor Series. Yeah.
Maybe do like an opening, like an all-out Warrior honky tonk man, like Miz gets destroyed in like 30 seconds or something.
Maybe, yeah, that would be a very interesting scenario. I like that, Tommy. Or have him, yeah, that you could definitely do that because when you look at it, he beat Apollo, he beat Darren Young, and I have to say this: that match was such a clusterfuck. I don't even know why it happened at Battleground. I felt so bad for Miz being in that match because that match just was the stinker of the night. He's beating Apollo Crews, like I said. I would like to see him fight Kalisto, but I don't know if they'll build Kalisto up properly to challenge Miz for the Intercontinental Championship. So Samoa Joe is probably the only credible, notable face that Miz hasn't faced that can dethrone him of the championship.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that will definitely be interesting. But like we were saying, we both picked The Miz because we don't see Ziggler winning. And Ziggler doesn't really have much left. He's still a great workhorse, and he was selling this match really well on SmackDown and on Talking Smack. But when it comes down to it, he's not winning that championship, and it's a shame Dolph isn't higher up in the company, especially after Survivor Series 2014.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right, so we both agree Dolph Ziggler. Next up, we have Randy Orton versus Bray Wyatt. This should be a really good match. I'm looking forward to it. I do believe this match could have been at a WrestleMania or a stage like Royal Rumble. And the funny thing is, if you remember, Tommy, Orton had a brief feud with the Wyatt family around this time last year, and then he got injured. And had he not gotten injured, I was thinking they could have done a SummerSlam or a that could have been the match at WrestleMania 32 that they could have done for Bray Wyatt had Orton not got injured. But as far as the build for this match has gone, it's been good. Once again, it's only like a 2-week build, considering that this is coming right off of the heels of SummerSlam, so they did what they could. Bray Wyatt is still one of the best on the mic, and I just don't understand how this guy has been so underutilized in recent years. He needs this win very badly. I mean, here's an interesting statistic. The last time he won a singles match on any pay-per-view was Battleground 2015 against Roman Reigns.
Okay.
He's won tag matches with the Wyatt family, of course. He, I wasn't a fan of that thing with him and The Rock at WrestleMania 32. I love The Rock, but I just felt like that put the Wyatt family in a very bad situation. It didn't help him what happened to him at Survivor Series with the Brothers of Destruction. I even said, like,
the New Day thing just that served no purpose, really.
Yeah, that did serve no purpose because I honestly thought the Wyatt family was going to stay on Raw, and then they could have annexed the New Day of the Tag Team Championships, and then maybe towards the end of the year, after they lose the titles, you could send Bray to SmackDown, and he could set his sights on the title. But yeah, Bray Wyatt needs a win. He needs it badly if they're gonna make him one of the big dominant names on SmackDown. He needs to beat Randy Orton. Randy Orton doesn't really need any more big wins because he's already established himself as a future Hall of Famer. I feel like Bray Wyatt needs to win this, and he needs to win it badly.
In my opinion, going back, I felt Bray should have won that the number one contendership to face Dean at SummerSlam. I felt that should have been the match over Ambrose and Ziggler. That's just throwing that out there. And back to Randy, like you said, he doesn't need the win, but I feel he's gonna win because, much like Cena, I can't remember the last time Orton's lost back-to-back pay-per-view matches. So
yeah, that's kind of hard too to think about because like he lost to Christian. I'm gonna give you examples. He lost to Christian at Money in the Bank 2011, and then he got it back at SummerSlam. He lost to Cena at Breaking Point 09, and then he got it back at Hell in a Cell. So yeah, I don't know anybody who's ever beaten. I don't know two guys that beat Orton back to back in pay-per-views. But I'm gonna call this one spot right now.
I think it was Mark Henry, wasn't it?
Oh yeah,
Champions
in Hell in a Cell. Yeah.
Yeah, okay. But that was a long time ago. But go ahead.
I'm gonna call this one spot because whether this is how the match ends or not, I got a feeling this is gonna happen. You're gonna have Bray Wyatt go for Sister Abigail. He's gonna take a couple seconds. He's gonna kiss Orton on the head. Orton's gonna spin out and he's gonna hit him with an RKO. I'm already calling it because I got a feeling it's gonna happen. It's so obvious because he can just spin around real easily and hit the RKO out of nowhere. But Bray Wyatt needs to.
And then you cue the Bray getting the Bray getting buried tweets.
Yeah, but I'm predicting Bray Wyatt wins. He needs to. If they do Hell in a Cell, or you want to keep it going at No Mercy, you can. But yeah, Bray Wyatt needs to win this because he's one of my favorites, and I feel like he's been so underutilized. The guy has only had one title shot in his entire run on the main roster, and that was in the Money in the Bank match that Cena won. And he hasn't really, he talks a big game, but then in the big feuds and programs, he ends up losing. So it doesn't really do him any benefit. So I'm picking Bray Wyatt to win. He needs to win. Randy Orton can take another loss. It doesn't hurt his credibility or anything. But Bray Wyatt needs to ascend as the new Predator, the new Conqueror, whatever. He needs to win it. He needs to win it badly. So Bray Wyatt's my prediction.
I agree.
All right. And lastly, we have the main event, the WWE World Championship match. The champion, Dean Ambrose, defending against the challenger, the phenomenal challenger, the new face that runs the place, AJ Styles. Should be a great match. These guys did have a match on Raw, which was to determine if AJ would get a shot at the title at Battleground when Roman was suspended. And it was solid for what it was, but I got a feeling they'll put on a much better match with the stakes being higher, the championship on the line. And I'm going to say it right now, AJ Styles, off of the win that he got over John Cena, he needs to win the title and become the champion and further establish himself as the face that runs the place. Dean Ambrose has been a good champion for the most part. He hasn't backed down from any challengers, any comers, but I feel like the kettle's hot. You got to strike when the kettle's hot. So you got to give the championship to AJ Styles, because if he doesn't win, then what was the whole point of him beating John Cena at SummerSlam? And he beat him clean. Keep that in mind. So AJ Styles, in my opinion, has to beat Dean Ambrose. He needs to be the champion, and I can see him doing great things as champion. I love what he's doing as a heel on SmackDown. He was intimidating guys backstage who may have been watching that footage of him getting dropped on the rope. So it was great. I love AJ as the face that runs the place, wearing Cena's headband as an armband. or no, wearing it as the armband as an armband, but at one point he wore it as a headband, which was funny. I just feel like he needs to win to further capitalize on the momentum he built beating Cena.
And here's my thing. You know, a lot of people have been very down on Ambrose as a champion. But I think in his matches also. But a guy like AJ Styles is going to definitely bring out the best in Ambrose. I mean, again, you know, I like Dolph Ziggler, but he ain't no AJ Styles. You know what I mean? So if anybody can get a very good match out of Ambrose, I think AJ Styles is the guy. So, and I really want him to win the championship at Backlash. And this will be a reverse. You know how people were saying, oh, Finn Balor got too much too soon. You look at AJ, you know, you only got so much time with him. So
yeah,
you got to strike while the iron's hot. And if you give him a WWE championship, you know, that's great. But again, you know, you got to keep the ball rolling. So I hope AJ wins, but I got that gut feeling that Ambrose is going to retain. So
I hopefully I'm gonna make it out to Sacramento to go see No Mercy live. So I would love to go there, knowing AJ Styles is walking in as the WWE World Champion. Yeah, there's that little gut feeling Ambrose will retain, but I really want AJ to win. I really want AJ to be the champion. I mean, think about the year he's had since he got to WWE, debuts at the Royal Rumble to a massive pop, beats Jericho his first night on Raw, beats Jericho at Fastlane, had another awesome match with Jericho at WrestleMania, which he should have won because Jericho doesn't need many pay-per-view wins either. Had a really good match with Roman at Payback. Then they followed up with an awesome match, near 5-star classic at Extreme Rules. Beats John Cena 2-0 in singles matches. And now he's got a chance to be the champion. I mean, give me one reason why he should not beat Dean Ambrose. You know what I'm saying? Like, I feel like on SmackDown, they're making the more logical decisions, the more popular decisions, which is good. You got to go with what makes sense, what's logical. So my prediction is AJ Styles by hook or crook. I don't care how he does it, but by hook or crook, I pick him to win and walk out the new WWE World Champion, the phenomenal WWE World Champion. And I hope he holds that title until Royal Rumble maybe, or whatever the February pay-per-view is going to be, and then go from there. Like, I would love to see him and Balor at Mania, but if Balor's going back after the title, that's not going to happen because right away you know he won't beat Balor if it's a promotional title match. But for now, we're talking about Backlash, and I pick AJ to win. He has to win, in my opinion, because that would capitalize on his momentum.
You can really make the argument of AJ being Wrestler of the Year for this year.
You know what? I'd have to agree because when you look at it, who else had a standout year so far in 2006? Look at everything AJ has done. I mean, I don't watch 2006. I mean, 16.
Okay, Bram.
Thanks for catching that. But yeah,
like I said, I don't mean to cut y'all, but you look at, like I said, it's 2016. You think about he had that excellent match with Nakamura at Wrestle Kingdom, comes out for the Rumble, and then just match after match has just been such a joy to watch. And like I said, I think you can really make the argument that he is Wrestler of the Year for 2016.
Yeah, going into it, because like I'm gonna do my year-end awards at the end of the year. I'm gonna do WWE Wrestler of the Year, NXT Wrestler of the Year, Lucha Underground Wrestler of the Year, and then I'm gonna do like overall Wrestler of the Year, overall promotion and whatnot. AJ, he's the heavy frontliner or front runner as WWE Wrestler of the Year and overall Wrestler of the Year. Because like you said, incredible match with Nakamura, incredible debut at the Royal Rumble, went almost 35 minutes in that match before getting eliminated, and has gone on to have great matches time in and time out. I mean, think about the match he had, him and Jericho versus the New Day for the Tag Team Championships. He was in that mid-card match, and that was a great match. They all went out there and put on a great match. So, yeah, AJ Styles is the front runner to be the Wrestler of the Year, just like he was last year.
And it's funny that we're talking about Wrestler of the Year because a couple of guys I follow on Twitter are trying to make a case for Matt Hardy, the broken Matt thing, and that's why I'm saying, like, what's the criteria? I mean, what are we basing this on?
I mean,
I'm just throwing it out there.
Yeah, I think when you consider Wrestler of the Year, yes, you have to yes, you do consider the matches these guys have had, but you also got to consider the impact that the wrestler is making in with the fans, with their respective promotion. Yes, Matt Hardy's done big things with the Broken Matt character because it seems stupid at the time.
But the thing is, it's only been out like 3 months, so it's like I look at 3 months compared to here we are in September. I think to me, AJ really has the bigger edge than the Broken Matt thing because to me, it's like I said, like I've been saying, the Broken Matt character can be just done in such an instant, but it's like that's all TNA has right now. So it's like that's their bread and butter. But we've seen in past how TNA can screw up a good thing,
and I don't watch TNA, so I mean AJ is my big front runner because he's done so many impressive things in New Japan and WWE since since the start of the year. He's just been that incredible workhorse night in and night out, just killing it. He's doing great in sales on WWE Shop. He's gone on to have great feuds. He hasn't had like one insignificant feud or one filler feud. He's feuded with Jericho, Roman, Cena, and now he's going up against Dean Ambrose. So I don't see anybody. I don't see anybody else really taking that title in terms of Wrestler of the Year from him. For those of you watching us, who do you think is the front runner for Wrestler of the Year? I mean, give us your thoughts in the chat box. I'll take a look towards the end of this video, but tell us who you think is the front runner so far for Wrestler of the Year. And if you are a Matt Hardy fan, and if you think he deserves it, tell us why in the chat box. We are open to all opinions, but Tommy and I agree that AJ has been killing it since January, so he's definitely.
Well, here's another name. What about Kenny Omega?
The thing about Omega, I don't watch New Japan. It's hard to keep up with New Japan Pro Wrestling. I saw the two big matches from Wrestle Kingdom, AJ and Nakamura and Tanahashi and Okada. Incredible matches. And I want to watch more New Japan Pro Wrestling. It's kind of hard for me to get it out here in the Bay Area. But Omega, I know Omega won the G1 Climax, right?
Yeah, he's really had a very decent year. He started out as the junior champion, and then he signed on to be a heavyweight. He won the Intercontinental Championship once Nakamura vacated. Then he beat Tanahashi for it. That's another thing.
Yeah.
And then of course him and the Bucks won the 6-man tag titles. I don't know what it's called. And then of course the G1, and him being the first Gaijin to win it. That's a big feather in his cap. And
yeah,
I really hope he wins that. I really hope he does win the IWGP title at Wrestle Kingdom, assuming that they still let him remain the G1, the challenging rights winner. I don't know if they still do that whole thing where they have to defend the challenger rights on a daily basis up till Wrestle Kingdom, or I don't know. So, yeah. But I think Kenny Omega can really provide a strong case depending on who you're talking to. So his name probably will get thrown out there along with AJ. But right now, because him and AJ are like two of my favorites right now in 2016.
Yeah, definitely. Like I said, if I watched more New Japan Pro Wrestling and watched more of Kenny Omega, I would definitely make a case for why I think he'd be Wrestler of the Year. But since I mainly watched WWE, NXT, Lucha Underground, and some ROH, I would say that AJ is definitely unless I don't see anybody else really topping him for Wrestler of the Year. Now, with regards to Newcomer of the Year, would you say him or Nakamura?
Just strictly WWE?
Yeah, WWE, NXT. Who do you think was the more impressive newcomer this year?
Well, I think those are your top two right there.
Yeah.
So it's almost like you flip a coin. You're not going to be disappointed with the result.
Yeah, definitely. So with that said, you're picking AJ, right, to win the championship?
I'm picking AJ, but I think they'll have Ambrose win it.
Yeah, I don't want it to happen. And nothing against Ambrose. He's been a good champion for how long he's had the belt, but I think it's time to give it to AJ Styles. What better way for AJ Styles to solidify his 2016 as like his best year than by winning the championship. And hell, let him be champion for the rest of the year. And it further solidifies himself as the face that runs the place. So I'm going with they may give it to Ambrose, but I'm going with AJ to win. He needs to win. I feel like this is his chance to really cement everything so far in 2016. So I'll pick AJ Styles to win.
And so since we're done with that, I want to watch more Ring of Honor. You know, I've watched stuff here and there. The last thing I watched was Lethal and Cole for the title.
Oh yeah.
And then of course Kyle O'Reilly came back, and like I am a huge Red Dragon fan. Him and Fish, they're like one of my top 3 favorite tag teams. So when I can watch them on like New Japan, whenever they show the old matches on the weekly series that airs tonight. Yeah. So I just enjoy to watch those guys, especially Kyle O'Reilly out. Especially that match he had with Kushida from last year, the Super Juniors final. That's a match I recommend you watching if you ever get a chance.
Definitely check that out. I mean, I have been there's a channel here where I live that has New Japan Pro Wrestling, but it's obviously it's replays of other matches. But
that's what I'm watching. That's what I watch because, like I said, I want to get more familiar with it and with some of the names on there. Even like I said, when they show the classic matches, the Nakamura. That's how I kind of became a fan of Nakamura, just by watching that show and then watching the current stuff now up until he left. And then, so if it wasn't for stuff like that, I wouldn't know who Nakamura is. And something that on my mind is, here we are in 2016, and we have 5. I guess if you want to call NXT a brand. We got WWE, ROH, TNA, and New Japan, and yet there's fans that continue to stay focused on the WWE. We know the stuff isn't great, but it's like that's what we have alternates for. It's like when I watch TNA, I don't think about WWE, but you have fans that look at last night. Look at really last night's final deletion thing, and then the one with Matt and Jeff the first time. It's like, oh, Vince Meek Mahan is like, why do you bring up WWE when you watch TNA? It's like, we know the stuff's not great, so it's like you're just really doing them a favor by keeping their name in your mouth. So
yeah, definitely. Well, I mean, that just goes to show again why WWE. Yes, we don't agree with their decisions time and time again, but WWE is still the sports entertainment juggernaut. And I gotta say, WWE, they have had a much better year this year than they did last year, especially going into WrestleMania, because I went to that WrestleMania in Santa Clara and I was so worried that the show was not going to be a great show. I was afraid I was going into a crappy WrestleMania, and that show freaking delivered. And I was so happy. But this year has been a much better year for WWE with their storylines, their performers. I mean, we've been talking about
people are so focused on the ratings. It's like, oh, they pull a 2.9. It's like, oh, it sucks balls. You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah. I just want, I love WWE. And the one thing I've always said this is when Triple H finally takes over, I know he's going to make it the product that it should be because he's going to focus on the wrestling portion of it. He understands the business so well. But I'm enjoying it for the most part. And I got to give him tons of kudos for everything he's done with NXT. And speaking of NXT, they're coming back to San Jose at the end of October, and I'm looking forward to going to that because I love Nakamura and Asuka and Bobby Roode and all of them, so it's going to be fun. So, what was I going to say? What were
speaking of it, go ahead.
What we're in the middle of discussing before?
I think we were talking about Wrestle of the Year.
Yeah, and then we did New Japan. We were talking about New Japan, of course. Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, like lately, I've been watching New Japan Pro Wrestling on this channel Access. It feels good to hear JR and Josh Barnett call commentary. I've seen great matches like AJ and Okada, AJ and Ibushi. The Bullet Club, Anderson and Gallows against the the Kingdom. I almost said the Addiction, but the Kingdom. It feels good to watch New Japan because I know Japan. It's all about the not necessarily theatrics. It's all about the athleticism and whatnot, the emotion, storytelling.
Yeah,
So
but it's like it's like people say wrestling is like, oh, wrestling's not about flips and kicks. It's about characters. It's
yeah,
like the way I feel is like there has to be a compromise. I mean, yeah, people like me I like great characters, but I like great wrestling at the same time.
yeah,
So it's like, you know, I'm a huge Nakamura fan. He's a larger than life character, but at the same time, you could say he's one of the top 10 to 15 best wrestlers in the world. So a guy like him is rare as someone to have a great charisma and can wrestle. You know, like someone like Ric Flair back in his day. You know,
oh
he
yeah,
had he was a great character, but he could wrestle. So now it's like, you know, some of these guys are limited. They wrestle great, but they can't talk, or they can talk great, but they can't wrestle. So it's like, you know, you got to take the good with the bad eventually, but it's hard to explain that to some of these fans today.
yeah, yeah. No, definitely. Characters are key to wrestling and storytelling, and Nakamura is a freaking rock star. I mean, when he walks into any arena, especially when he walks into NXT, there's just this aura he generates that makes him larger than life, and he's an awesome character. He's an awesome wrestler. He quickly became one of my favorites after I saw him wrestle AJ, and then he had that incredible battle with Sami Zayn, and I was just like, wow, this dude is one in a million. He's a freaking rock star. So characters are key to wrestling. You know, what I think is storytelling, characters, and storyline progression are always key, and emotion too, because like AJ, the match between Sami Zayn and Kevin
Nakamura.
Owens at Battle. No, Owens and Zayn at
Oh,
Battle.
okay.
I was
I
so
got you.
emotionally invested into that match, man, because it was just brilliant storytelling, and the ending was one of the most emphatic endings I've ever seen. It was just the way that Zayn picked up Owens' body and then threw him back and knocked him out with one more haluva kick. That's brilliant storytelling right there, man. That was awesome, you know?
Yeah, I just watched that. I didn't watch Battleground that actual night, but me and my friend watched that match, and again, you know, that is a match of the year candidate if you're asking us. But we know how WWE thinks they're going to do. Like they're going to give like I joked about this with one of my friends on Twitter. I said we know what the true matches of the year, but watch them give Taker and Shane the match of the year slammy.
They ought to give it to AJ and Cena. That was they don't
Now,
give
yeah,
it Owens.
that's logic, but they'll probably give the Shane and Taker just because of the spot from the cell based on that.
Yeah. All right. So real quick, Tommy, let's go through our predictions real quick because I do like this little open forum because we do have a couple questions. So real quick, let's go through our predictions again. So for the Tag Team Championship Tournament, we're both picking the Usos, although we both could see Heath Slater and Rhyno winning because it would be that feel-good win for Heath Slater. He'd finally get his SmackDown contract and whatnot. We pretty much agree with our predictions. We both picked Becky Lynch to win the SmackDown Women's Championship, although we could see Alexa Bliss walking out as the champion. We both picked The Miz to retain the Intercontinental Championship. We both picked Bray Wyatt. And we both picked AJ Styles to walk out as the new WWE World Champion, although there's that little gut feeling that Dean Ambrose may retain the championship. So going to our chat box right now, my good friend TN Couponer asked us, what do we think of Roman Reigns being named the #1 wrestler by PWI in the top 500? I wouldn't agree that Roman is the #1 wrestler. He's a good performer. I like him. But if you're going to give it to like Nakamura or AJ or even Sami Zayn deserve to be #1.
Yeah, I kind of laugh when people were going nuts over this thing, but if we're going to give it an actual smart logic, #1, it would be AJ, Nakamura. Pretty much, I think those would be your top 2 guys to win it. So, and then like you gotta remember last year when they did the women and Nikki Bella got named the #1 women's wrestler, so it's basically lather, rinse, wash, repeat. if you think about it.
Yeah, I definitely agree. I like Nikki, but last year Sasha Banks should have been ranked #1. I'd have been fine with Bayley being #1. But really it would have been Sasha, because Bayley, her breakout moment, her defining moment was the match at Brooklyn, and it didn't come out before. The magazine came out before Brooklyn that year, right?
I think so.
Yeah, okay. But, I mean, I'm not making a big deal over Roman being named #1, but we both know that it should be AJ or Nakamura as #1. I mean, Roman's good. I like him, but I said this in one of my predictions videos. I was kind of becoming a little resentful toward him, because I feel like they're just giving him that push to the moon, and it's like they're trying to make it the Roman Reigns show, but it's the Kevin Owens show, which I'm happy for. So I like Roman. I want to see him do well. We'll see what happens. But to answer your question, Josh, it is what it is. But we think that AJ Styles or Shinsuke Nakamura should be the #1 wrestler in PWI's top 500. So, Tommy, I have a scenario I'd like to pitch out to you about Kevin Owens as a champion, because I was thinking about this, and this would be awesome if it actually happens. So Survivor Series is going to be in Toronto.
Right.
I have two big matches. Three actually they could do for Owens as champion. And I just want you to tell me which one you think would be the best and why. Which one you would prefer, obviously. Kevin Owens versus Chris Jericho for the championship. Team Jericho implode. Kevin Owens versus Sami Zayn for the championship, continuing their feud from Battleground. Or Kevin Owens versus Sami Zayn versus Chris Jericho in a triple threat for the Universal title.
Oh man, now it also depends on where. Okay, let me ask you this: where was, I hate to say Seth Rollins because we're not talking about, but what would you do with Seth?
That's kind of hard. Though the only reason I thought about it was because it's in Canada. You'd have Owens, of course, as a champion, and then you'd have either Jericho or Zayn or both in it. So it'd be a Canadian celebration, so to speak, a Canadian showcase. But it'd be huge because it's three of the top names headlining, maybe even main eventing Survivor Series in Toronto. I don't know what I would do with Seth, because you got to believe him and Triple H are going to duke it out at Mania. So yeah, that's a good question I didn't really think about.
I think you could probably do Jericho and Owens at Survivor Series. I mean, Jericho's going to put Owens over, so
yeah,
I would. And it really depends on how they build it up. I mean, like because we know that this part of the year is usually when WWE kind of goes into cruise control, and then they really do very lazy booking, just to pretty much. So they just want to get past football season, and then when Royal Rumble comes, that's when they kind of go balls to the wall. So
yeah,
I think with this latter half of the year, and like I said, with football season just now, starting up, I think Jericho and Owens probably would be the way to go. Sammy and Zayn and Owens is like, again, you know what I mean?
Well,
why not?
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Well, I was gonna say, I know what you're saying, but then again, when you look at it, these guys are destined to fight forever. That's what I love about their feud. I think, like, when they fought on Raw, I was like, okay, it's on Raw, but I would have preferred they never cross paths again until, like, Survivor Series. If Zayn becomes the #1 contender, then you can do a huge match for the title in Canada at Survivor Series, and it's going to mean a little more, because I love what Sami Zayn said on Raw. He's been directionless since beating Kevin Owens, and you would think he would be in one of the title matches. You'd think he'd be in the Universal title match. Instead, they put him on the freaking pre-show with Neville as a tag team. So,
yeah,
there are ways you could go with it. It's to me a dream main event. It was something I was thinking about, because Owens and Zayn, of course, would be a great match. Owens and Jericho would be great. And then to have all three of them in a triple threat, which would be a Canadian showcase, a Canadian celebration, that'd be great too. So We'll see what happens. And then you brought up a good point. Where does Seth Rollins get inserted into this?
I think maybe they do like a what do they do like a teams? Do they do like a Raw versus SmackDown interpromotional elimination series? Have Seth captain the team and whoever represents Smack, maybe like the Miz. Well, I don't know about. Well, I can't say the Miz, but maybe like they'll probably just like throw 10 guys together. Like, hey, you guys are on the show. So
Don't do that. Do
what's that?
Raw versus SmackDown maybe next year when you build both brands up properly, and then you start doing the little interactions like they did back in 2005 with Raw and SmackDown. That's when you do Team Raw, Team SmackDown. Because just don't do it right now and throw Seth and someone else as team captains of random teams. TN Couponer says he likes the idea of a triple threat match at Survivor Series, and then he threw out the idea of Team Rollins versus Team Triple H.
Well, you don't necessarily have to have Triple H wrestle though.
Yeah, you can just have Triple H pick a team, and then Rollins.
I think with that right there, not to cut you off again, that might be you probably in that situation you probably would force Roman and Seth to kind of team up just for one time,
Yeah.
Say, hey, we were once tag team champions, so I don't like you, you don't like me, but hey, we're both on Raw. We got to represent the brand, so let's not disappoint.
Yeah. I like that idea. I want Triple H and Kevin Owens, this union, whatever it is. I wanted to do something big because Kevin Owens has been one of Triple H's favorites since he got to NXT, and that's one of his NXT standouts who just took the top prize on Raw. So if they don't do a championship match, if they do something like Team Rollins, Team Triple H, where it's Seth, Roman, Zayn,
another baby
and somebody else versus Owens, Rusev, I don't know, I hate to say it, but Sheamus, Owens, Jericho, Sheamus, Rusev, and who's the other top heel on this show on Raw?
See, that's the thing. We can't see. You can't think of nobody else.
Yeah.
Maybe unless they just would they do a 5-on-5
or 4-on-4? You could do Seth, Roman, Zayn, and Cesaro versus Owens, Jericho, Rusev, and Sheamus. Pretty much right there.
Yeah, I like that.
Yeah, definitely. All right, well, what we're going to do is Tommy and I are going to continue our conversation off air. Sorry, guys, that we can't keep it live on air, but we do appreciate everybody joining us for our live predictions. And Tommy, again, thank you for joining me on this video. If you want to give a shout-out to your plug for your channel, go right ahead.
Yeah, even though I have not made a video on my channel since February, it is called Squared Circle Society. So if you want to check it out, I'll probably give Robbie a link. So I'll be back soon as soon as I can.
Definitely, man. If you want me to be a guest on your channel, I'd gladly be a guest. Gladly like to work with you. Where can the folks find you on Twitter?
You can follow me at TommieCB, TommieCB.
Yep, just like it's spelled here in our title, guys. Just make sure to add the at the top at the start. Of course, I'm Robbie1 Kenobi. You can find me on Twitter at Robbie1 Kenobi, just like it's spelled here on my channel. Thanks everybody for watching and listening. Leave your comments down below and tell us what your predictions are for Backlash. Do you expect this show to be a good to really good, hell, even great show? And one more thing I want to say is, real quick, Tommy, before we go off the air, with only 6 matches, do you think, and the roster, the size of the roster that it has, do you think the SmackDown pay-per-view should go to 2 hours, 2.5?
Well, do you imagine they'll throw well, you don't want to throw something random. I mean, and then one thing I'm thinking about Baron Corbin versus Kane, because I mean, if you're gonna go 2 hours, of course, maybe you do have to kind of throw a couple of random stuff together, and then again, what happened with the Baron Corbin Kalisto stuff, so it's like the continuity is an issue.
I was just gonna ask, but then Kalisto I heard got hurt.
And then of course you don't have Apollo Crews not wrestling, so maybe again, just if you're gonna do something, just maybe do like Corbin and Crews or something.
Yeah, but what I was asking is, do you think because of the size of SmackDown's roster, since they got the short end of the stick, do you think 2-hour pay-per-views may benefit them better than 3 hours? Because this pay-per-view will be 3 hours, Backlash. Do you think in the future, if they go 2.5 hours like NXT does with their takeover specials, it could benefit the SmackDown pay-per-views more in terms of time and match quality?
Yeah, and plus like if the matches are good and the show's good, the 2 hours are gonna zoom by so fast.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, like I said, usually by the 10 o'clock hour, I'm just like, oh god, I'm burned out.
Yeah.
Like I'm just ready to lay down. But
that's sorry, that's what my friend Daniel says. Raw is too long at 3 hours. That third hour is just that's the worst, you know. But we'll see. So this pay-per-view will be 3 hours, guys. Backlash. But hopefully the SmackDown pay-per-views, they'll be cut by an hour or maybe even 30 minutes. So then the shows get better time, better pacing. The matches get much more time. We'll see what happens. But again, Tommy, thank you for joining me live. Thanks everybody for watching and listening. Go support Tommy on his channel and on Twitter. Go follow him and make sure to click that subscribe button on my channel and follow me on Twitter. It's Robert Kenobi signing off. Everybody have a good day. And Tommy, like I said, thanks again for joining me.
No problem.
All right, everybody have a good day and enjoy Backlash on Sunday.